Happy readers, my name is Liz and today we're going to be talking about The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. So to summarize, this is about a kid named Bod who is adopted by ghosts. This happens because when he was just a baby, a man stuck into his house and killed his family, and he crawls down to the nearest graveyard and they adopt him. So Bod is this kid who's raised by ghosts, and so as you would assume, he is very not the usual kid. So the book is kind of like him figuring out how to be a live person and to interact with like live people, not just ghosts. In this book he goes through a lot of adventures and a lot of scary things, like going into the Indigo Man's grave and going into this, like, I don't know, different land with the poltergeist. It's just like this weird place, and he gets chased by some big ugly monster. There's a lot of characters in this book, like so many characters. So at some points I would see that it's kind of overwhelming. But overall, I thought this was a very well-written book, and it's got like interesting, you know, drawings and stuff like that in it by Dave McKean. It's very like coming of age. It has that big coming of age feel of like him figuring out who he is as an individual and growing up and things like that. And it is a middle grades book, so it's got, you know, this kid who's growing up from like, you know, he goes from like 5 or 6, there's like when he was a baby, then it's like 5 or 6 years old, and then a couple years later, then a couple years later, and a couple of years later, until he's like about, say like later than 15, because he and Silas go eat pizza, and I would say like 17 or something like that when the book ends. But it's a good like span of like this kid's life, this character's life, and so I thought that was really interesting. That was like one of the most interesting parts of the story. And then you have like the adventures in between, and going and doing scary things, which is why it makes such a good Halloween book. Is just like the ghosts and him interacting with them and interacting with the witch. And also when he runs into the Jacks again, that was really, whoa, life-threatening, crazy, and I was like on the edge of my seat. That's what I mean. And that was like the pivot of the story, was just like around, you know, his life and around the fact that he is alive. But just like, you know, just figuring out, even the ghosts point out, you know, you're not going to see us after some time, and so you need to figure out like what to do with your life and like how to actually live and not just be a ghost kid. So it's a very interesting story. There were some parts that were kind of like a bit drawn out and dry, but overall I would say that it's like 8 or 9 out of 10. Probably that because I'm 23 and so I can't really necessarily relate to him. Overall, I thought it was a really good story, very like poetically, beautifully written. I mean, it's Neil Gaiman, and so I haven't really read much of his other stuff. I think I started reading Stardust, I think, and it was really good, but I never finished it because I had a lot of other books to read. It's beautifully written, beautifully done, a very good middle grades book. I would definitely suggest it, especially for this time of year. It's only $7.99. I got it at Books A Million. Have you read any scary ghost stories so far this year? If so, tell me about them. Tell me about what you're reading. Tell me about if you've read any Neil Gaiman's books. If you've read The Graveyard Book, tell me. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What do you think? Anyways, I hope you have a great day and keep reading some scary books.